Hi, everyone. I'm Andre Sr. with KTVU Fox 2 in the San Francisco Bay Area, and we continue our COVID-19 coverage with Dr. Annette Nunez, as it is Autism Awareness Month. That's what April is. So we're joined by her to talk a little bit about that issue, because it's something that needs to be paid attention to, because a lot of kids aren't in school right now. So first of all, Dr. Nunez, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I want to start with the subject of ASD, because it's not something, I'll be honest with you, that I'm even familiar with, the acronym ASD. Describe what that is.
So ASD stands for Autism Spectrum Disorder, and it's really a spectrum disorder in the sense that you have some kids that are nonverbal, some kids that are highly verbal, and then some kids in the middle. And what it affects their social skills, their communication skills, and sometimes their academic skills.
You know, and so this, first of all, how many children does this affect in the country?
The CDC just came out with some recent stats that it's 1 in every 54 are diagnosed with autism in the United States.
So that's quite a bit, especially when you're talking about a lot of kids being out of school. So
Yeah.
Tell me how this could adversely affect all those kids who are out of school here in the Bay Area and across the country that suffer from ASD.
Well, it's had some adverse effects in the sense that everything suddenly happened. Usually children with autism love the predictability and the routine, and they kind of like that countdown of when a vacation is coming. So we were unable to give that countdown because things just stopped so abruptly. So some of the effects of that are behavioral meltdown, stress and anxiety, which then causes stress and anxiety for their parents. And it's this vicious cycle that goes round and round.
So are you getting calls right now about parents dealing with children who are dealing with ASD, and what are you telling them?
So a lot of my clients, what we've done is we put our clients immediately on a schedule, because we know that children with autism love routine. They love that predictability. They want to know what their day looks like, their day-to-day routine. So we're helping families right now put in place home schedules. And with that home schedule, we're putting in when the start of the day is, when the end of the day is, and also things like lunch, snack. And what's embedded that adults forget is bathroom breaks are embedded in a schedule in school. So we're encouraging parents to put in not only bathroom breaks, but also physical breaks as well.
So that's a lot of work. Does it involve scheduling pretty much their entire day in order to keep this disorder in check?
Yeah, we really are encouraging parents, and even if their child doesn't understand a full day schedule, to show them half day, and then after lunch, show them the second half, because children love that routine and that scheduling. Now, they don't have to be in academics the full day. The bottom half of the day can be their screen time, movie time, just something that they know what's coming next, and that predictability is huge.
So the next question is what are the symptoms that children that suffer from ASD, what are the symptoms that they will put forth? What will you see, and what are parents dealing with when they don't have that schedule and things kind of get out of control?
You're going to start seeing more meltdowns. And what I mean by meltdowns is some kids will scream, cry. Some kids become aggressive, not only to themselves, but to others within the family unit. You may see some what we call self-stim behaviors. And those are behaviors that are very pleasing to a child with autism. So you may see them hand flap more, walking in circles, lining up cars, blocks, Legos. So you may see some more of those behaviors come up. As if we don't provide structure, that's what happens. They engage more in self-stimulatory behavior, as well as having more behavioral regulation meltdowns, if you will.
I'm curious, as a doctor that specializes in this, and when COVID-19 started becoming an issue and schools were announcing they were closing I want to know what went through your mind at that time, knowing that you treat children with this disorder.
I knew that I was going to get a lot of phone calls, and I have. I've been extremely busy coaching parents and even coaching professionals, because when schools shut down, professionals also have to now work online. And children with autism, it's really important to have that one-on-one contact. So working one-on-one and working virtually one-on-one is completely different. So we really have to understand and teach a new skill of how to teach kids to attend to a computer and work one-on-one via FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, what have you. And that's a whole new skill. And I have to remind professionals to remember that, because some kids aren't staying engaged because it's not one-on-one. And as in terms of parents, the stress of, what am I going to do? I can't manage working and also having to homeschool my child with autism, and just the anxiety and the panic. So I knew right away I was going to be getting lots and lots of phone calls and emails, and I have.
Have you converted yet to telehealth, which is using video conferencing to speak to your patients?
Yes. So we've converted to telehealth. We do see some clients one-on-one. About half our clientele we see one-on-one and half we see telehealth. And what we're seeing is that we have to become more animated. The attention span, we're working in increments. So, where we work with a child for 2-hour sessions, we may just start 5-minute increments to get a child to attend. We're bringing in their favorite toys, maybe a light up toy, something that makes sounds or music to keep their attention to stay engaged. So we're working through it as well.
Yeah, that was absolutely my next question. How difficult has it been to make this adjustment to children who have ASD?
If you're looking at it from a perspective, a life skills perspective, this is a life skill to teach a child. One, flexibility, that we don't know what's coming. So we're teaching flexibility to a kid that likes predictability. So that's a life skill in itself. And then number 2, ways of communicating other than one-on-one. So we're teaching a child how to use FaceTime, maybe how to use texting, I've been texting clients back and forth. And so it's just a whole new way of communicating and relating, which is a life skill. And so when people say, oh, kids are going to regress, they're not going to regress, in the sense that we're building new skills now.
So what has the response been? And I understand that might be a difficult question because you have children with varying degrees of ASD. But what has the response been overall when you communicate with these children in this more animated way over teleconferencing?
This response has been very positive. Our children do like a lot of screen time. So the more animated you can be and engaging you can be, and it's almost like a test for the adults, if you will. Like, let's see how long we can keep this kid engaged. It's our time to be animated and to be the star of the show. So it's been very rewarding to see kids respond in a different way. And kids that have had a limited amount of language, we're seeing them communicate more in ways that we haven't seen them communicate before. And that's been really exciting.
Okay, so why are they communicating more through teleconferencing versus when they're in your office? What do you think has changed either with you or with them?
Well, I think, children with autism, the big social piece is a big factor. When we talk with adults or adolescents with autism, they say the eye contact is really hard. So it's almost like having that filter in place where they can kind of be themselves more, and it's not that pressure, that one-on-one physical pressure where they're forced to make eye contact. When we're working I could be looking at your nose right now and you don't know. I could be looking at your chin. So that's the beauty of it, is that we're not making direct forced, if you will, eye contact. And I think, the stressors and the pressure of trying to focus on, in a one-on-one environment is less when we're dealing, via the internet.
So I want to go back to something you said just a moment ago, and you said that your kids like the screen time. Why is that? Why do they like the screen time?
There is so much available to these kids now via the iPad, YouTube videos, and I think it's the animation, but I also think it's the less pressure of having to socially interact physically with somebody. And I think that's part of it. I think the coloring, the bright colors, sometimes our kids love the lines of things. Like, we don't necessarily know if they're looking at faces. They may be looking at the colors or the lines of things that may be reinforcing to them, the visual stimulation. So there's a lot. Some kids like songs or music that goes along with the videos. So it really is dependent on the child. But I think because there's so much color and so much, if you will, visual stimulation, kids are really drawn to that.
So I guess the question now is, how are parents responding to this new type of treatment when you factor in the teleconferencing that we all have to do right now to meet with their doctors?
Parents are overwhelmed and stressed, because they have to be with their child in order to attend. Some parents can leave their child in front of a computer, and some parents, it varies on the level of the child.
So they normally don't attend when they go to a meeting when their child attends a meeting with you. They leave the child normally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's one-on-one sessions. Unless we're doing a training session with the parent, it's usually one-on-one where we work individually with the child. So, if we're looking into doing one-on-one sessions via the internet, it is more challenging because a parent has to be there to make sure that their child isn't escaping, running away, not engaging. So, it is overwhelming and stressful for parents, especially parents who are working. But I have to remind parents that children with ASD feel the nonverbal stressors and anxieties of the world 100 times more than we do. They just do. And so those stressors, when they feel that anxiety and stress, it leads to more meltdowns, which then stresses out the parents, which then stresses out the kids. And it's this vicious cycle. So I've been really coaching parents to coach them and say, you don't have control of the outside world, but you do have control of your mindset and what's going on in your home environment. So we've been having parents do positive prompt cards where they get sticky tabs or cards and write positive statements like, you got this, way to go, keep going, you're a great parent, and to tape those all throughout their walls in their house. So when they are feeling down, when they are feeling overwhelmed, when they are feeling stressed, they can find a card that says, breathe, take a breath, you're doing the best that you can. And it really helps try to shift that mindset.
Talk a little bit about Fun Fridays. What does that mean for a child dealing with this issue?
Well, right now, we've been doing Fun Fridays at my clinic for the past 2 years, and our kids love it. And it was all because of selfishness for me, because I didn't want to work on a Friday. So I said, let's earn some Fun Fridays and play games. I bring in cake pops, brownies, whatever. So we've been doing this for about 2 years, and it works perfectly right now because the weeks are unpredictable. We don't know week to week what's going to happen, but Fridays are always consistent. They're always before the weekend, and why don't we make them fun? And it gives something for kids to look forward to. So we set goals at the beginning of the week. Let's get our kids to work maybe 2 hours a day, or, say these certain words during the week. Whatever your goal is for that Monday, set it. And if they achieve that goal, then we get to celebrate and have a Fun Friday. And it allows both parents and kids to decompress and just enjoy each other. And the Fun Fridays can consist of movie days, making cookies, pizzas, letting your kids veg out and have as much screen time as they want. I mean, really, it's a way of reinforcing during the week and also just celebrating. Like, we made it through another week.
And this is something you say is beneficial for children of ASD.
Yes, it is. Kids are very highly motivated for their Fun Fridays. All my clients, they like, did I earn my Fun Friday? Because it really is fun. It's a time for us to engage with them socially, have fun. And we've been doing this for the past 2 years, and I don't know of a kid that has not earned their Fun Friday. They love their Fun Fridays.
I want to ask you, how do you think things are going to look after this is all done for children with autism? What do you think will happen if the the ideas that you're recommending aren't maintained before kids actually get a chance to return to school?
Well, the good thing about this is, one, we're teaching kids flexibility, and that's a life skill in itself. I encourage parents, let's not worry so much about the academics. Maybe focus on some self-help skills that you can teach your child while they're at home. So teaching them how to dress themselves, maybe use utensils when they eat, opening and closing their backpacks, simple things like that, taking a shower independently. So let's start working on self-help skills. And you know, I don't look at it as a regression or anything like that, because we're teaching different sets of skills, and these are life skills, and this is life skills for everybody. This is a whole new way of living. So it's teaching just grown-ups, not only children, to be flexible, to have a more positive mindset, to trust that things are going to work as they will. And that's what we're teaching kids right now. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And that's not regression at all. Those are valuable skills that help anybody, not just kids with autism.
I was just going to say that doesn't just sound like something that will help kids with ASD, but it sounds like it's something that will help the parents and pretty much any of us, because this is certainly a new way of living for all of us around the country and in fact, the world as well. So I want to thank you, Dr. Annette Nunez, for your insight into this. It's something that we probably don't often think of unless you're a parent dealing with a child with ASD, but it's something that we should all know of. We're all in this entire issue, this entire shelter in place together. So it's good to help out those parents that are dealing with that. So I thank you for your insight into all of this.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.